As soon as you can, get the SAC dates from your teacher and put them on a year planner or a diary. This could be an electronic planner or diary that you have on your computer or tablet. You need to be aware of days or weeks when you'll be asked to complete more than one SAC. Don't be afraid to point out a clash to your teacher and ask if the date can be rearranged. Each school has its own SAC advice form. It lays out for you when the SAC is, what you can bring into the SAC, how long you're allowed to work on it, and what the SAC is worth towards your final assessment. Make sure you get this form and keep it where you can find it as you prepare for the SAC. Most importantly, this form will tell you the format that your answer is required to be given in. Check to see if the SAC has more than one element or section and divide your time and attention according to the value of each of those elements or sections. If the SAC isn't broken into sections, break it into smaller workable parts that you can tick off as you complete them. Double check that you've covered everything. Remember to check with your teacher about the SAC. Make sure you know what your final completed SAC should look like by asking for samples or for guidance. The key to success in any of your VCE work is organisation. As you get the SAC dates, put them onto your planner and then count back and mark in a start date or preparation period for the SAC. Remember, you might be working towards several SACs on different subjects at the same time. Use a separate, clearly identifiable folder or computer file for your SAC preparation is a really good idea. In that way, you can keep all the relevant material in one place where it's easily found and accessible. Don't just leave information lying around. It might get tidied away and you might not be able to locate it. The SAC advice form should give you the title of the SAC task and set out what is required. After you've read the task, talk to your teacher about what is required. Write this information the teacher gives you down in your own words and then check that what you've written is correct. Talk to your fellow classmates about what you think the task is and what you will include in your answer. Again, after this talk, check with the teacher that you are all on the right track. If you can, look at previous examples of this SAC and answers that have been given. Before the SAC, show the teacher the preparation you've done for it. This preparation could include completing older SACs that are on the same topic and that use the same format. The most important thing you can do in preparing for a SAC is being aware exactly what you need to write in your answer. The best way to do this is by practicing writing SACs, initially without time constraints. Make sure you are answering exactly what you're asked to do, because putting in unnecessary information is just a waste of your time and will not earn you marks when the piece is assessed. Once you've completed a few practice pieces without a time limit, then start writing answers under test conditions. Find out from the information sheet how much time you will have to complete the task and use that time as your deadline. In all cases, ask your teacher to check the practice piece that you've completed and to tell you how to improve them. Preparing for the examination is not something you start just a few weeks before your year ends. It is a year-long process that, if completed well, should have you ready with minimal anxiety to face this final assessment. Good preparation involves summarising topics as you complete them. Bring your pages of notes down to key points that need to be remembered. These summaries are your keys to revision rather than a massive pile of notes. Understanding and comprehension of the areas that you have studied are vital in all units. Create an ongoing list of quotations, formulas or other items that you need for each unit that you are completing. Revisit and refresh this list for each unit regularly. These are the items that you will have to memorise or rote learn. You will need to build this revision time into your program or planner. It needs to be carried out as well as your ongoing homework. As you complete this revision, you should become aware of points that are not clear to you or areas that you need to revisit. You don't want to find yourself close to the end of a year with several areas that you are unsure of. Remember, if you find a gap, check with your teacher straight away, revisit your notes and summaries and then update them. Possibly use a different colour to indicate to you that this was an area that had caused you some initial concern. As you revise, you will realise that there are gaps in your knowledge, or that something that seemed clear at one time no longer makes sense. Don't struggle to work this out for yourself. Go straight to your teacher and ask for assistance. Once it is explained to you, make sure that you build the explanation into a summary that you have made. Make a note to revisit the topic in a few weeks to ensure that it makes sense. Some gaps are in knowledge. Missing a day of school, for example, can leave an area uncovered. Some gaps are in technique or approach. If you know you're going to be away, ask your teacher what has been covered. Get copies of notes or work from friends, but check that what they have recorded is correct. Your best resource is your teacher. Make sure you have a good working relationship with them. Many of the professional teaching associations offer student lectures during the year, and particularly as the examination period comes near. Make sure you attend these lectures. Presenters are often examiners and markers, and if not, are highly experienced teachers who have prepared students for a lot of examinations. They know the topics, they know the way that they should be approached and the common pitfalls. These lectures are usually not as expensive as other commercial offerings. Look at examination papers from the last 2 to 3 years and go back and look at the examiners' reports that were made about these papers. After you've looked through them, attempt one of the papers over several days. Plan your approach and make sure that you include everything that you think you should. Get your teacher to check this work. The next step is to attempt different parts of the paper under exam time pressure. Finally, attempt a whole paper. If you can attempt it at the same time that you'll know you'll have to do your final paper, then that is good preparation. You will know how you feel at that time of the day, how alert or otherwise you are. A couple of don'ts. Don't take time off school to study. Your teachers can direct you well as you go into exams. Listen to them and use the school preparation time. Don't cram. Spending 5 or 6 hours at a time revising a subject doesn't work. Plan out your revision time carefully. Another important thing is to be aware of is how you prepare to handle stress. You need to keep your anxiety levels down by being well prepared, having good access to all the notes and other things that you need. Plan ahead and stay as calm as you can. Get your exam kit together early, pens, erasers, etc. Check to make sure what you're allowed to take into the exam room. Talk to your family and friends about how you are feeling and ask them to keep an eye on you. Look at the commitments that you have. If some are not essential, as you get close to exams, cancel them. If you have a part-time employment or job, talk to the person in charge of the roster well in advance so that they are well aware of the dates that may be difficult for you. Build in break time. You still need exercise, fresh air and some relaxation. Don't lock yourself up. As you get close to the examinations, go through the examiner's reports from the previous year or two. Be aware of the things that examiners have said must be done or things that aren't necessary. Double check the timetable for the examinations. Make sure that a copy of it is in a prominent place in your house so that everybody that lives with you knows where you need to be and when you need to be there. Double check the rules about what you're allowed to take in the exam room with you. Be aware that mobile phones are not allowed in exam rooms, so if you use one to keep track of time, you'll need another way of tracking your time use. On the day of the exam, make sure that you're up and ready with plenty of time. Make sure that you have a good breakfast or a good lunch, depending on when the exam is. Keep hydrated, but don't overdo it. You don't want to spend too much time going to the bathroom. Allow plenty of time for travel to the exam centre and have a backup plan in place in case of a flat tyre or late tram. Check once again that you have the equipment that you require for the exam. If possible, have it in a clear bag so that you can locate things easily. Make sure that you know your exam number and have a copy of it with you. Just in case, leave another copy with your family so if needs be, you can be told your number. Remember, you can't take a mobile phone into the exam room, so arrange somewhere where you can leave it safely. Once you're in the exam room, Read the instructions carefully and be aware that in some exams you will need to use different script books for different parts of the exam. When you are allowed to write, fill these script books in first so that you know that the information on the front is completed. If you do make a mistake and use the wrong book for an answer, make sure you inform the invigilators in the exam centre as soon as possible. Good luck, and I hope things go well for you.